Reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network. You're listening to LOTROReporter on the MMO Reporter Network. Brought to you by Audible. Go to audiblepodcast.com/MMOReporter to get your first month free. And by Doghouse Systems. Go to doghousesystems.com and use the coupon code MMOReporter to get a free 120 gig SSD with your purchase. And welcome to another episode of LOTROReporter. This is episode 303. I'm Chris, and I'm joined by the ever so lovely fashionista of LOTRO, Mrs. Cari Mack. Hi, Cari.
Hello.
How are you going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Sorry we had to cancel last week. I just, every once in a while, I'm just not up to it. Still post-surgery crap that I've been going through, but I'm happy that you were able... no, you weren't able to stream. You had some issues.
I got about 30 minutes
in. It's been... We'll talk about game issues in a little while, but it's been a funky couple of weeks for the game. Mm-hmm. But we have been playing, so we've got some news. So why don't we get right into things? Why don't I start for this week, talking about what I've been doing? Still moving towards Minas Tirith. I'm almost there. I can see the White City in the distance.
Oh, you're farther along than I am.
Yeah. Still crafting. I've moved past Isengard into the next areas, which is good. But I have to admit that this is definitely a goal-oriented mission, because the goal is going to make the not necessarily the funnest part of the game worth it when I get there. According to our Facebook conversation with our listeners, it was the way to go was to get my crafting up. There's enough benefits that it's outweighs the not necessarily the most fun part of the game-ness of it. And so, it went well. I'm going through it. It's smooth, but just it's work a little bit. I think it'll be worth it in the end. Do you have your crafting up at cap for everything?
Not everything. I gave up on my Brandywine character, and my Landreval character. I do believe I am at cap on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you craft with your Landy character?
Absolutely nothing.
What's your professions though?
I'm sorry. I'm a tailor, and so it's the woodworking and the mining.
Yeah. Right. So you would not recommend getting my character up to the max level in my crafting professions?
I have not found it necessary. However, I am not one of those people that find having the most uber gear necessary either. So, the latest, quite unfortunately, the crafted gear isn't that pretty lately. So that's usually what I crafted.
All about the pretty.
It is. I will actually pick medium or heavy armor if it's prettier, even if the light armor is, better than what I'm wearing, because. I
think we've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a common theme. And hey, guess what else I did? I skirmished.
Did Genghis come along? Wait, Genghis wasn't yours.
Genghis is
Selenius.
Is Asani's warrior.
We're going to have Asani come bring Genghis.
Yeah, well, we'll have her on for sure as well. But yeah, I did Tuckborough and Prancing Pony, which are my two most memorable ones. And of course, Amansul is up there too. But those are the two ones, just to get back into the whole swing of things as we're going to get streaming those ones, and had some fun. I had I brought my character, I think it was my Runekeeper, all the way up from, as soon as you can get into skirmishes. I went all the way through and got that character all the way up to 60, I think it was, all through skirmishes. Through skirmishes. And this was a few years ago now, probably 3 or 4 years ago, but just to do it, right? When I was only playing Lotro and I was an alcoholic, and now I'm an alcoholic across many games. Same really experience. I'm all over the place. But I've got that Runekeeper sitting in 50 something. I just wanted to skip Moria because I still, to this day, I really don't love that chunk of content. I really don't.
It's better now that they've smoothed it out some.
That's when Selene and I and Bill and Isani all moved over to a different game. Was after going through Moria, we're like, nope, we're done.
Yeah, no, the first time I went through Moria, there were several times that I was in tears of frustration, trying to figure out where in the world I needed to be and what I needed to do. And then I would realize I was at the back end of something and I had to go back through all of the mobs to get there. Yeah, that's one of the few times that I have been in almost tears of frustration. And I ran my Brandywine character through after they had updated Moria. And so I didn't spend nearly as much time there, but it was a lot better.
Right. It frustrates me in the same way that Guild Wars 2 and Maguma Jumble does in its verticality. But the problem with Lotro is it doesn't have the ease movement between those different vertical levels. Yeah. That Guild Wars 2 does. And so it was dark and dingy. And yeah, I know it was exactly what it was supposed to be. It is the best in-game representation of Moria that could have been. It is perfect. And I hate it. And it should be hated by everyone involved. Because it's Moria. Yeah. How many of you in the chat room like Moria? Let us know as we go through here. But it's never, ever been my thing.
You miss one turn and you're halfway across the map in the wrong place.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, so what have you been doing to keep yourself busy in game?
Well, I have been attempting to play Lotro. I don't know if at our last podcast or if it was between the last podcast and this one, when I couldn't log in for a week because the login server I guess it just didn't like my IP. I just flat out was not able to log in. And then the last week or so, I was able to log in, and it was almost unplayable. I went to Pellegrir, and I was trying to do some quests there. And one day, I couldn't run in a straight line because it would as you said in the pre-show, it was like I was riding the mounted combat horse, but I was running in a city instead. So it was pretty, and it was one of those, and I honestly couldn't tell because I got a new monitor, the 28-inch monitor, the 4K monitor, so I couldn't tell if it was the monitor or the Lotro. So I'm adjusting. So when I streamed, I didn't stretch Lotro out to the entire expanse of the monitor, and I turned the graphics down, which is a shame. And it was better than it had been. And David, who's in the chat room tonight, can attest to the frustrations we had trying to get this to work. So I'm hoping.
Sorry, I'm going to go back to your monitor again, because have you been able, with your monitor, I'm assuming that you haven't had any refresh rate issues. I know my only experience with 4K in gaming was on a TV, and that was limited at 30 hertz.
This was a 60 hertz, and I did notice I was playing the Secret World, and there was one jumping thing that was very frustrating to me, and I don't know if it was just because I'm a very bad jumper in video games, which is true, or if it's I don't think I would hit the jump button and my character wouldn't do what I wanted it to. So I don't know if maybe it was a refresh rate issue.
Right.
And Secret World is really graphics intensive. So I don't know. I thought, well, maybe. So I haven't played another game to see if I notice any kind of lag in jumping or anything, or responses to what I ask. As long as I wasn't jumping, TSW was fine.
Right. Well, I'm happy that you have that monitor, though. That's a lot of fun to play with, and the nice big monitor for Lotro is really good.
Yeah, I fell into the Shire.
Yeah. We'll talk more about some of the issues with the game in just a little bit. But was that pretty much it, or did you do anything else? That was pretty much it.
Yeah. Yep. I streamed and played some in Pellegrir, and that was fetch quests for the fellowship or the
go get
the guys.
This.
Yep.
Go get that.
Yep. Go talk to the guy who's grumpy. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like Frodo's quest a little bit. Take this, go there. Okay,
yes,
go.
exactly.
Go. Come back and I'll give you a pie. It is a Hobbit quest, right?
Yeah.
All right, a couple things we want to mention. First of all, if you are interested in Skirmish of Skirmishing with us and you are a patron, we have sent out a message to our patrons asking if you've got a character on Brandywine and want to join us and be our special guest, then we'd love to have you. So patrons, check your messages there as well, and enjoying chatting with our patrons on Slack. So that's a lot of fun as well. If you are a patron and don't have access to that yet, send me an email, Chris@MMOReporter, and I'll make sure to add you there. I think that's all the mentions that we have. We usually stream at 8 o'clock on Tuesday nights, Pacific time, so you can come and join us there. We stream at twitch.tv/MMOReporter, and don't forget, if you want to give us an iTunes review, we'd love to mention your name on the show. Let's move things along to the news. All right, before we get to the news, just want to mention a few people, Emma Vosette and David in the chat room, both liked Moria. That's fantastic. Maybe I'm the crazy one and the whole rest of the world loves Moria, but that was not my or my group's experience. My fellowship was not in love with the experience of Moria. So let's move on to the news. There's a little bit of a data center update for those of you who are interested in the back end of things. I know this is something that's been on the books for quite a while. For quite a week, they had some issues with the new server hardware interfacing with some of the software modules that they had. No, they're not moving the servers to Amsterdam, for those of you that were wondering.
They were going to move the EU servers to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Then they're not.
But they are not going to do that. And what else is it here? PVMP issues should ease up with update 18. They're adding some client side stuff as well. And they're going to keep working with ISPs, the key regional ones, to hopefully get things to be a lot more smooth. You had some issues with login servers, I think you said, right?
Yeah. There was a solid week there where I couldn't. I would try twice a night to log in, and I could tell it wasn't going to go well because the updating information would just sit for like 5 minutes, and then it would act like it was going to go through, and then I would get disconnected. Right.
I thought I was having issues. I reinstalled Windows just because I was having some tech issues. So I just did a fresh install of Windows, not a nuke and pave, but just sort of reinstalled the Windows on top. So I had to reinstall a bunch of stuff, and I was having issues with Lotro. But it turns out I just needed to reinstall DX9, DirectX 9, and boom, all my problems went away. I know that's not everybody's issue, but that was my particular issues. It'll be nice when they get this new hardware up and running. I think we've kicked Bob just enough times that he's gonna grab our foot and twist one time.
Yeah, well, Bob Squared is, poor original Bob's back there just relaxing. He's retired. Bob Squared is the one that's having the problems. Yeah,
right. And now we're moving to Bob Cubed.
Yeah, I think so.
And he's gonna go the way of the Apple Cube computer.
Probably.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Although those things look damn cute.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been nice, but no. Anyways, so there you go. If you've been having some issues, if you've been looking forward to the back end smoothness that we've all been waiting for, it's coming soon.
Yeah.
TM.
Yeah. So some of the things that they've done is they are looking into the issues that have remained. They're getting down to now where apparently it's supposed to be a subset of users that are having problems, not all users.
Right. So subset is in Cari.
As in me, yeah. Me particularly. And but when everybody was having problems at the very beginning, I had none.
And they're like, wait, we can't have that. Hold on, what's Carrie's account again? Okay, there we go. Now we're good.
Yeah, we got to block that ISP because we can't have, one of the hosts of a podcast like that. Yeah. And they're still asking for bug reports on things like rubber banding and like running in place and stuff like that, so they get an idea of what's going on.
I would be, I would be really curious to know what the size of the Lotro team is now. Like how many actual, not just like public facing personalities like producers and senior developers and stuff like that, but how many programmers are still assigned to LOTRO? How many QA people? How many people do they have actually assigned to this game? I'm curious because some of these issues have been fairly lengthy in their resolution time.
Mm-hmm. This is true. I think a lot of it was they went from a 32-bit system to a 64-bit system, and whoops.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but one of the things is they are they're getting freelancers are only getting 5 to 10 reports per day on lag or disconnects, but everybody seems to be complaining about lags or disconnects. So he's not seeing what people are saying they're seeing. So I don't know if people are giving up on reporting or what.
Here's the thing, folks. If you want to complain about a less than optimal gaming experience, please be vocal about it. Let everybody know that things aren't working for you, but also report it. Either go to the forums, do bug report, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, they're asking for in-game bug reports is what they're asking for. Posts in the forums don't help knowing where the lag is and what's going on. Because they need that information from in-game. So, and then they had an issue with login instances, so they had to restart that for one of the servers.
Yeah, your server. No.
They believe they found the cause of my intermittent login issues, and they're working on a longer-term solution because they didn't want me not to be able to log in.
Yeah.
And they are working on additional remedies. So they're working on it. They're just... Yeah, it'd be interesting to know how big the team is. It really would be. I know that the customer service is about 5 people.
Here's the thing: we'll never know.
No,
we will never ever be told that. That's not something that they will ever publicly announce.
Yep.
Sorry, keep going.
Oh nope, that was it. That was all I was just going to say. Basically, bottom line is if you're having lags and stuff, just please give them a bug report.
I'd love to hear from players out there, see how the different servers are doing. We were talking in the pre-show. I haven't had any issues. None whatsoever. Every time I've gone in, no problem. I've been able to log in. Lag has been no better, no worse than it usually is. I still refuse to ride my war steed anywhere near populated areas because it is absolutely ridiculous to try and control that thing. But it was just normal. So I'd love to hear from our community about how it's going for them and what they're experiencing in the game, because I'm not getting that. And I know that they're singling Cari out, so it's nothing on her end. Mm-hmm. All right, there's going to be some downtime, which will be probably the day before we the day before
I know.
we posted
I know,
this. But hey, all you live folks that are listening on the chat room, there's going to be some downtime tomorrow morning from 8 to 11 Eastern for maintenance. Thanks you for your patience, and we'll see you back in the game soon. They're stealing my line. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we'll see you in... No, it's different enough.
Close.
I'll give them that. However, maybe I'll find brothers them, and I will do a DMCA notice on all their videos, because anybody... You know what? I should totally trademark See You in Game.
You should,
and that's because that's my brand. I have to, and then anytime anybody else uses it, I'll use Twitter to send people and complain about people. Sorry, I know it's an old story, but I'm a little bitter.
Yeah, but
sorry, go ahead.
But you're Canadian, you can't do that.
Canadians secretly harbor a inner viciousness that is unparalleled across the world. It comes from the cold.
Okay.
Did I ever tell you we got a DMCA notice from Felicia Day's network?
No.
Yeah. And you know what it was for? It was for the World of... We showed a like 15-second clip of the World of Warcraft movie trailer.
But that's not her.
I know. Yep. YouTube's not broken. Anyways. Nope. Emma said, going back here, Emma said always hears that people hate Moria. It's too dark. It's not the dark. It's the twisty, turny, perfectly mine-like tunnels of Moria that bug me.
Yes. Yes.
All right, if you are looking for a new PC, then check out doghousesystems.com and use the coupon code MMOReporter to get a free 120 gig solid state drive, in addition to the 1 terabyte drives that come with the system. Over on Guild Wars Reporter, they've been calling it a Super Star Destroyer drive.
My husband has one in his new computer. I am so jealous.
Yeah. I have a 120 gig SSD in I put my OS and nothing else on it. And that runs fantastically. Everything boots up so nicely. Once it hits the hard drive after the cycle, boom, Windows is up and running.
Awesome.
It's wonderful. And if you want to listen to something other than a podcast, you've listened to all your podcasts, you need something longer. Maybe you're going on a train ride, a car ride, a boat ride, a whatever ride, you need an audiobook. So go to audibletrial.com/MMOReporter and you can sign up for their monthly subscription plan, which gets you 1 book per month. Now, the cool thing about Audible is when you end your subscription with them, all those books that you use the 1 a month credit for, you get to keep those forever. As long as you cannot log into Audible, those books will be there. But hey, if you do sign up, here's a quick PSA. Make sure that you use all your credits before you cancel your subscription, because we have heard of some listeners who have canceled their subscription, meaning to use up their credit afterwards, and the credit was gone. So make sure that you use up all your credits before you cancel your subscription. But here's the thing. You can sign up for that free month, get the book, and then cancel and never get charged. Shh, don't tell anyone.
Okay.
Whoa.
That's weird.
Woo. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Techno Lord of the Rings, where we bring you the deepest, darkest EDM Lotro beats that you can find. Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats. Yeah, my pod producer hiccuped there. I thought it had totally crashed, but it saved itself and finished the audio file. That is some software.
I thought that we had a new intro.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, you will find on the bloopers show.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's move things along. Oh, I'm so excited about this. This is so cool. So there is this video. There's a YouTube channel called, it's called Nerdwriter, but it's Nerdwriter 1 is the name of the YouTube channel. You need to go check this out. This is a fantastic video that talks about the themes in The Lord of the Rings. And he talks about leitmotifs, which, for those of you who are musical, you understand the idea of a motif. Motif is a rhythmic and melodic idea that returns, and you will have theme and variation. It's like a theme. A motif is a smaller idea of a theme. So he talks about the leitmotifs and their use in the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. So I'm going to play just a tiny little bit of it here that talks about the Fellowship theme, just the little bit of it, and you can understand, you can hear how clearly he articulates these very complex musical ideas in a very Lord of the Rings focused soundtrack. It shows the genius of Howard Shore. So here we go. Take a listen.
Motifs. I'm going to isolate one. The Fellowship theme, which has the most variations, and focus on its development in the Fellowship of the Ring. Now, before the Fellowship theme can come together in its full heroic glory, Shore builds it up with a few variations. The first time we hear it after the title is when Frodo and Sam leave the Shire on the road to Rivendell. Shore presents a small snippet of the Shire theme, a foreshadowing of that theme's final variation at the end of the film, and then transitions into a humble statement of the Fellowship theme using just French horn and cor and glay.
What Frodo used to say, it's a dangerous business, Frodo, going out your door.
This is almost immediately contrasted with another darker variation as Gandalf rides into Isengard to take counsel with Saruman.
All right, so I will fade that out here. I do want every single one of you to go and watch that video. It is absolutely wonderful. The best 7 minutes and 44 seconds that I have spent on something musical in a very, very long time. And I believe I will be showing this to my students the minute that I return back to work. It is an absolutely wonderful, and it makes you think about the soundtrack in a very different way.
Right. I agree. I was reminded about how much I can still see the movie the minute that soundtrack starts.
And what? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, and I do own just the soundtrack, so it's very, I didn't know they were called leitmotifs, but you can tell when you just listen to the soundtrack without watching the movie, that they're very much interwoven.
To the point where, and this one doesn't go into it to all that much detail, but I always get that, especially with Frodo's struggle with the ring, and the way that it's pulling at him, you can always see that little hint of some chunk of the ring theme always comes up when it's tugging at him, when it's altering his thoughts or his perceptions, or Howard Shore is a genius. So
right, and you do not need to see anything to hear the music and know that you are now in Moria or in Mordor or in the Shire or Lothlorien. I mean,
I think because, if you compare Howard Shore and John Williams has these bombastic themes that are very forward in the world. There's a couple of parts. You could find some parts, especially in Two Towers, especially with the Rohan themes, that are very much more thematic, like that, very in-your-face sort of themes. But the whole entirety of The Lord of the Rings, the music fits so well because it is so layered and so... it's not in your face. And that's Lord of the Rings is not one of those in your face stories where it's heavy action. It's very character driven, right? So the music, the motifs, the leitmotifs are the characters in the soundtrack.
absolutely. It's very excited.
So
Yeah,
Nerdwriter 1, go check it out.
Yes, and I watched part of another video because it auto started after this one, and he's an interesting fellow. I will have to watch more of his YouTube videos.
Like I said, I'm looking to Patreon, so yeah, I highly recommend. David is mentioning in the chat room Battle Bards. Chance Thomas, wonderful guy. Go check out we'll throw it in the link in the show notes as well to that Battle Bards episode with Chance Thomas. I was lucky enough, I think a bunch of people know that I actually met Chance and went to the recording of the Riders of Rohan soundtrack, and saw what he did. And I think, I think Chance is, I hate to say it, but he should be a worldwide name. What he did with Riders of Rohan, especially, I'm a bigger fan of the Riders of Rohan soundtrack than the Shadows of Angmar soundtrack, which are the two that he did. I love the Riders of Rohan soundtrack, absolutely love it. And I don't know if it's because I have a personal connection to it, or if it's just the music, and I can't separate myself enough from it to make that call. Yeah. So, go check it out. We'll grab a BattleBards link and throw it in the show notes as well. All right, Cari, you have some more Lord of the Rings facts.
Okay, yeah. Some of these are facts we knew, and so this clearly has been around for a bit. But the number one fact that I found interesting, and hopefully it was very true, is that J.R.R. Tolkien didn't invent the Elvish language to fit the Lord of the Rings timeline, but he wrote the Lord of the Rings to fit the 15 different languages he created, which is that's awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep. It's like, I made up these languages. Now I need to make a place for them to fit.
Yep.
That's, and some of them we knew from the movies and things like that. And so the Elvish language Sindarin, used for the Lord of the Rings, was an entirely independent from any other language, and as of 2008 contained some 25,000 words.
Sindarin.
None of which I can pronounce.
Sindarin.
Sindarin.
There we go. Thank you. I had to get that right.
Yeah. Yep.
It's really cool to wrap your mouth around the Elven languages. Elven. Yeah.
Elvish.
Anyway. Elvish.
Yeah. Elvish. Oh, there's a link in the show notes. It's kind of interesting. Some of the tidbits that they've picked up from different things.
You know what? The other interesting one is in the original 1937 edition of The Hobbit, Gollum willingly bet his ring in a game of riddles with Bilbo, and the two parted ways on good terms with when the ring went quote-unquote missing. Tolkien changed the story in his second edition to reflect the corruptive powers of the ring taking shape in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Didn't know that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that was interesting. And the Beatles wanted Stanley Kubrick to make Lord of the Rings, and they're like, it's unfilmable. He's like, it's unfilmable.
Yeah.
The Beatles starring in the Lord of the Ring. Oh,
Ringo
Lord.
would have to be Frodo.
Yeah.
Ringo would have to be Frodo. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't find it surprising that Tolkien's son Christopher didn't like the movies. I don't know why anybody would find that a surprise.
Well, I don't know. Here's where I think that Amavasette would cast the Monkees instead of the Beatles. I think that it's really hard because it is such a personal story that I personally think that the books as they are on paper are unfilmable in a movie form. They could be done in a book form, but look at what they did with the Sword of Truth. Do you remember the Sword of Truth show that they did?
No.
It was absolutely ridiculously good, but not the Sword of Truth at all. Like the main character was supposed to be this big, tall, broad-shouldered guy, and they cast like archetype of a rogue type character as the main guy. And so that just, I never bought into it. But it was a good show on its own. And that's how I think people need to look at the movies. If you are a purist and think that the books are the best representation of that world, then separate that and just look at these other movies. You don't like those movies? Great. Don't like them. But I don't get the friction that's there.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know, Cari, and I know that you know because you are the one who put it in the show notes, so I don't know why I'm saying that. But anyways, did you know, Cari, that once Lord of the Rings was a question on... Oops, that's the wrong one. There we go. Now I can show it. Lord of the Rings was a question on Jeopardy?
I do know that once, and it was not even the $200 question. It was the $800 question.
Ooh. All right, so... All right, for $800, some games have LFG, looking for group. In Lord of the Rings Online, it's LFF, looking for this.
The answer is not Frodo, by the way. That was the first answer, or the first question. What is Frodo? The second girl got it correct.
Yeah. And you know what? Is it Lord of the Rings Online? I always thought it was the Lord of the Rings Online. Oh, couldn't fit the. Come on, Alex Trebek. What are you doing here?
Yep, couldn't fit the Lord of the Rings.
No. All right, and you've got an in-game event to mention.
I do. I found one. The Greenfields Music Festival 2016 is coming March 19th to 20th to Landreval. I'm assuming it's going to be in the Greenfields, and it's 2 days of music. So I would believe they are still looking for bands.
Are you sure it's not going to be in the Barrows?
I'm pretty sure that they went with the Greenfields. I'm pretty sure there's going to be lots of hobbits there.
All right. And hey, if you have an in-game event, we want to tell the world about it. So let us know what it is. Send us an email, send us a tweet, send us any sort of... You can try sending it by carrier pigeon. I don't know how much success you're going to have with that. If you succeed at sending us a carrier pigeon, I guarantee we will get you the patented LOTRO Reporter T-Cozy. We have been working on those. They're still in the prototype phase, but we are getting ever so close to having those ready for production.
We are, yes. I actually know the person who is doing the beta of the T-Cozy.
There you go. And if you have any questions about the game or you have any submissions that you'd like to make for the podcast, same thing. Send us a message. Let us know, and we'd love to have that on the show. Cari, if people do want to send us anything, questions, events, anything like that, how can they get a hold of us?
Well, they can always email us at lotro.reporter@gmail.com. They can tweet at us at LOTROReporter. They can check us out on Facebook. Just search for LOTRO Reporter. Of course, they can leave us a voicemail at 616-666-6778. They can check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/user/MMO Reporter
We can just drop the user. It can be just youtube.com/MMO Reporter Network.
Awesome. You can check out our website at LOTROReporter303.com. I do think we need to apologize to the people for last week.
I was going to mention that when you were done. You keep going, and I'll talk at the end.
And you
here.
can always check us out live when we go live at twitch.tv/MMOreporter. If you subscribe to our channel, you will know when any of our shows go live. I can promise all of the live shows are fun, entertaining, and you get a lot more on them than you do in the podcast form. We edit.
Well, podcasts are pretty entertaining, too.
Yeah, they are very entertaining, but some of the behind baseball stuff is pretty. You can follow me on Twitter at the Cari Mac. It's TheCariMac. And how can they find you, Chris?
At Almazar, ALMAZAR. And it's Zed, not Z. Zed.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm right. So we do want to mention we actually got hacked. The network got hacked last week, and it was very interesting the way that they hacked it, because you could type in LOTROReporter.com, no problem. You could click around as much as you wanted on the website, not a problem. But if you Googled Lotro Reporter and clicked on the first two links, only the first two links that came up, you had some more adult oriented websites that would come up. And by a little adult, I mean, yeah, what you think. So sorry about that. It was actually an SQL injection. We have done everything on our end that we can to get all that cleared up. We're still working through. I'm working through the index, the back end stuff. I was going to go into detail, but you don't care.
We're working to make sure it doesn't happen again.
All the back-end stuff, some of the back-end files I have to go through line by line just to see if they added anything anywhere. But as of right now, it's fixed in that it doesn't send you to the more adult-oriented sites. It just gives you a 404 error. So that's a better thing now. Hopefully soon I will have figured out how to get them to not send you to the wrong place, which still sends you to a 404 error if you go to the first two.
Yes, so just type in LOTROReporter.com or MMOreporter.com.
Oh, just the first one now. Actually sends them back. The second one, weird, sends you back to the original Lotro Reporter site that was a free WordPress site. That is crazy. Oh my God, I have to show this to everyone. Okay, so there you go. Take a look at that. There's a whole big...
MMOSat wants to know if he can send us dead fish.
If you can figure out how to send a dead fish via a carrier pigeon, yeah, you go for it.
Now remember, MMOSat only lives about 50 miles from my house.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Look at that epically horrible website.
Woo.
It's still up?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Oh, wow. Look at that thing.
Yeah. And there's our crafting guide. I wrote that, I think. Was that me?
That's a music guide.
No, right now it's the...
We've moved.
Oh, wow. And that's back when my mother-in-law was playing because she commented. And there's the music guide. I think Bill helped with that. So there you go. There's the old website. Ooh, history. Okay.
Wow.
So that's the show. Hey, thanks, Cari, for recording.
Yeah. Thank you for coming along.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks to our chat room for coming and hanging out. You're always fun.
Yes. And come back next week because we're going to do a Skirmish of Skirmish.
Skirmish of Skirmishes. All right. So thanks, chat room. Thanks, Cari. Thanks to all of you for watching or listening to the podcast. We really appreciate it. We hope that you come back next week. But most importantly, we hope to see you in game.